Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1340. Your travel questions answered. I thought, because I have a website that will send me questions that people ask on this particular website, and you can go in and choose to answer them or not answer them. I thought, let's go through some of the questions I've had to answer this week, that not have to answer, that I chose to answer this week. But first, today is a very important day, so I cannot go on with the show without saying happy heavenly birthday to my late husband, Brad. It's his birthday today, and missing him like crazy, but honoring his memory. And this weekend, I will be watching the original Star Wars movies. So that's episodes 4, 5, and 6 for those of you who keep track. In fact, I was having in the thread on Facebook, I was having a conversation with one of Brad's friends from high school and stuff. And I said, I remember he told me the story that you guys all get dressed up as characters from Planet of the Apes, complete with the makeup and everything, and went to the opening of Star Wars in 1977. And she goes, and I said, and there's these group photos there. I said, I don't remember who's in them. I'd have to pull the photos out to have a look. And she goes, yeah, I'm the mute human. And she said, I think Brad was hanging onto my leash. So I'd have to go back and have a look at that. But he did have a really cool, really good time with teenage years. He had some great friends. I've heard stories about the antics over the years that they used to get up to. And one time we were visiting in LA and we were staying at the Courtyard of Sherman Oaks. And we walked in one evening, and I think one of his friends might have been staying in the hotel as well. And so they had called their friends from high school and stuff, and we had this impromptu get-together reunion there in the lounge area, in the lobby area, on this little lounge off to the side in fact, it was in the bar. The bar wasn't open, it was closed. So we just got together in the bar there and had this impromptu reunion. And I just sat back and listened to all these stories going about, things that they got up to as teenagers, things that had happened to them since they left school. They caught up with things and everything else. And it was just a really fun evening, and it was completely impromptu. There was it was a really cool, fun evening. So I got to have a little conversation with one of Brad's friends about that today, and so it was kind of cool. But anyway, travel questions. So there is a website. It's called Quora. Quora. I think that's how it's spelled. Quora. And you can go on there and you can ask questions. You can answer questions in your areas of expertise, all that sort of stuff, or experience it. When you answer the questions, they're looking for people who have experience or expertise in that area. So if you've been traveling and somebody happens to answer a question that you encountered on a trip that you went on, you can go in there and say, hey, this is what happened to me on a trip, and this is what I learned about it. So there's, questions in there, like one of the ones I had today was, what was one of I'm trying to see if I can find I can't remember now. Yes, how do you efficiently organize a big group holiday /trip? And I thought, that is such an easy question to answer. And I said, go talk to a travel professional who specializes in group travel, because they know all the ins and outs. They can take a lot of the stress off you, and make it very quick for, take a lot of load off you for preparing this. All you need to do is just put it, you plan it with the travel professional. Most of them include like a website where people can go and sign up. They get all the details. Here's what it's going to cost per room or per cabin if you're going on a cruise, depending whether you're in land or sea. They've got all the different options there and everything else, and they can actually book it through the website. And the word would get passed out as well, because it would be written on the website that in order to participate in any of the group activities that we're going to be doing, or any of the excursions and everything else, you must book through this website and this agent. So that would be made very clear on there as well. But, it's just talk to a travel professional about it, because they take away a lot of the worry, a lot of the stress. They know all the ins and outs of group planning and stuff, and especially if they're certified in group travel. I'm certified for events at sea. So talk to them. They have the expertise. They can save you so much time and money and headaches and stress levels. And another question here: what are some good options for luggage for a one-night trip? A one-night trip. Well, for me, it would be my laptop backpack with my laptop in it if I needed it. If it's just a one-night trip, I probably wouldn't take my laptop unless there was some stuff there was a reason I had to take the laptop with me. But I would pack, a change of clothes, PJs, toiletries, clean underwear, and that would be it. So I could throw it in a duffel bag. I could throw it in a backpack. I've got this really cool little carry-on wheelie that will hold my laptop and a change of clothes and toiletries. And I've taken that away on one-night trips. And it's one of those ones that you can use as carry-on. And if you're using and it will fit underneath the seats in front of you. And if you're using like a wheelie bag because you're going for a few more days, then it will, it's got the slot on the back that slides over the handle and you can, carry them together type of thing. So yeah, for overnight stays, I just use a duffel bag or a backpack, just like a day backpack, a carry-on wheelie where I've got my laptop in there, and I just throw in a change of clothes and toiletries, and I'm good to go. So, because for one night, and it also depends on what you're going to be doing. Why are you going for the one night? Are you going for all day, then staying the night, and then coming back the next day? It depends on what you're going to as well, because you may need 2 changes of clothes based on what it is you're doing. You could be like flying in first thing in the morning, you're going straight to a conference for the day, you're staying the night and then coming home the next day. So you're probably going to want an extra change of clothes, another change of clothes with you just for whatever you're doing that evening or something like that as well, unless you're going to wear what you wore during the day and wear that again in the evening. So, and then you got to travel back home the next day. So I would take travel clothes. I would be wearing travel clothes, which for me these days is like sweatshirts and yoga pants because they're comfortable. And then when I got to my destination, change into my business attire or whatever the dress code was for the meeting. And if it's something that requires like dressing up and stuff, I would actually have a suit carrier for the night, because you can get suit carriers that got pockets that you can put shoes in, you can put toiletries in one, you can put your underwear in another one, put PJs in another pocket, and then you've got the area for your dress, your business suit, or whatever it is you're going to wear that you want to keep nice and you don't want it crumpled. So you can use. I've got this really cool little fold-up suit carrier. In fact, the suit carrier is small enough that it will fit inside a carry-on size bag. So, yeah, I've gone traveling with just that and a backpack with my laptop in it. So it depends on what reasons you're going for. Just don't overpack. I know people who go away on like a 3-day vacation and they will take like 20 pairs of shoes with them. My question is, why? I don't even own 20 pairs of shoes. I know many people who do. I have my walking shoes. I have my mucking around shoes. I do have a pair of dress shoes. The nicest, in fact, a friend gave them to me and they've got these little sparkly studs on them, covered like all over the shoe. And they're just slip-ons. They're awesome. Most comfortable shoes, and I've worn them to 2 weddings so far, and everybody's like, oh, you're wearing sparkles, yay. So yeah, so for an overnight bag, depends on what you're doing, how many clothes do you have to take, but there's a variety of really good stuff out there. Just don't overpack and just take the size case that you need. And if you're going away with mates for a party that evening, just chuck everything into a duffel bag and off you go. It's not rocket science, people. It's not rocket science. What's the difference between a travel advisory and a travel warning? That is a really good question. An advisory is this may happen, so just keep an eye on it. It's like a tornado. Tornadoes, you've got watches and you've got warnings. So I think you actually have advisories, watches, then warnings is the way it goes with as far as weather goes. So if you are under an advisory, it's sort of like take note, be aware of this, depending on where you're going as well as to whether you want to continue traveling or not. If it goes to a watch, it's a little more serious than advisory, but not as serious as a warning. And if it's a warning, it's like, heads up, this is going to happen. It's not, a travel advisory is like, this may happen. It's kind of on the outskirts. A watch is, it's a little closer. We may have things. Warning is sort of like, this is going to happen. So yeah, one's an advisory that just sort of says, hey, just heads up, you may encounter this situation there. And when it comes to traveling into countries that have, we've got advisory. If you go to travel.state.gov, they have a lot of really cool information on there. And you go, you can actually pull up different countries, and they have, I think it's 5 different levels that they have on there. But they will start with like, everything's good, you can travel there, and then they'll put a little advisory in there, and then it gets to be like a watch and then a warning. So they upgrade. So keep an eye, if you get an advisory for a country you're going to, go and check out on travel.state.gov, put that country in and see what is the travel. Should I still travel to that country? And they will give you the information on what's going on right there and then, and their suggestion on whether or not you should travel to that country. Travel to this country with caution. You might want to revisit your travel plans and don't go. Is basically how it's going to go. That would be their situation. It's like, you can still travel there, but just travel with caution. That would be your advisory. Your warning, your watch would be, it's a little uneasy. You may want to rethink your travel plans, and the warning would be, don't go. Make other plans. Cancel your trip, whatever. So that's kind of your it's just different steps of warning being the most serious one that you really want to. If you get a warning, you really, really, really want to take notice. We got so many cool questions in here. How much does a custom trip planner cost on average? It depends on the travel professionals and what it is that they are doing for you. If they are doing things like just straight airfare, if it's domestic airfare, a lot of travel professionals will charge $25 to $50 for one way. And it doesn't matter if there's a couple of legs in there. It's a one-way trip. Like, for example, if you're flying LA to New York and you may have a 3-hour layover in, I don't know, Denver, for example, it would be either $25 or $50 to do that part. Now, if you want to fly back from New York to LA, that's another $25 to $50, depending on what it is. They're taking a lot of the hassle out of this stuff for you. They need to get paid for their time. And if you think, oh, well, they get commission. Yeah, no. Airlines don't pay commission. If you're going internationally, you could be paying anywhere from $50 to $100 per destination. So again, like if you're going, say, LA to New York would be, say, $25. Then you're doing New York to London. That could be $50 because it's going international now. So you need to talk to the travel professional, but the scale is around $25 to $50 for domestic flights, and for the internationals, it can be anywhere from $50 to $100 to book, and that's to book one way. Actually, if you're going from LA to London and the ticket goes all the way through, it'll be at like $100. There's that. If they are planning a cruise for you, it depends on how many nights you're going to be going. They all have, some of them have like a flat rate. It could be anywhere from $100 to $500. I know ones that charge up to $1,000 for travel planning, depending on what it is that they're planning for you. They take into account the length of time you're going to be on this trip. Is it a cruise? Is it a land tour? How much work is involved in putting it together? Like if I'm doing a customized trip to New Zealand, there's a lot more involved in that than putting somebody on a cruise ship. Because you're planning every destination, you're planning all the trips along the way, all the stops, all the excursions, everything. It is completely customized. So that would cost a bit more because there's a lot more hours involved. Some of them just do it on a straight hourly rate. Some have a flat fee. If you're going, if you're going to New Zealand, this is what it's going to cost you if you're going. So you really need to talk to the travel professional you're working with to find out what their fees are. And just remember that there is a lot of work that goes into working for a client to put them on a ship. There's a lot of hours involved. So just remember that you're paying for the work that they are doing. They go, oh, they're just booking a cruise for me. They can just go online. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. When we book a cruise for a person, when we book a cruise for a family, we're looking at where's the cabin located on the ship. We just don't go, oh, we're just going to book you into this balcony room and, the kids will be like 7 cabins down. No, if you've got a family traveling together, we want to get them in cabins next door to, preferably with connecting rooms. If we can't get connecting rooms, then at least next door, or even maybe across the hallway. The parents have the balcony, the kids have the inside cabin directly across the hallway. We link those reservations together, and we in the reservation system and stuff, so that the cruise line knows that those cabins are traveling together. If you've got 2 families that are traveling, we link all the reservations for all of their cabins together. So the cruise line knows that these 2 families are traveling together, so they try not to move the rooms if you've got linked reservations like that too. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. There could be calls going backwards and forwards to the cruise line saying, okay, what cabin I need. You can call up and say, hey, they're looking for this type of cabin. They need to have 3 or 4 cabins based on how many people are traveling. It's not enough for a group. Although there have been times that I have done a group, but I want the cabins to be either connecting, or I want them next door to each other, or I want the parents in the cabin on balcony and the kids across the hall. There are times that when you are booking cabins, because of the ages of the children, if the children are under a certain age, they have to have somebody in the room that is over that particular age limit. And it could mean that you've got mum and the girls in one and dad and the boys in the other. And then you can go talk to the front desk to see if you're able to change things around a little bit so that mum and dad get time together and put all the kids into one cabin. And if you're usually if you're next door, you're across the way, the ships typically don't have a problem with it because you're there. If it was, different decks, 20 cabins apart, one's on one side of the ship, one's on the other side of the ship, they would have a little problem with that one. But if you've got the reservations linked together and you've got them all in the same area, there's one for 2 families traveling that I just booked, and then we've got 4 cabins in a row. We booked them all, we've linked them all together so that they can travel together. And we got the only 4 cabins that were side by side by side by side. And it's communicating with the cruise line that these 4 cabins are traveling together. There are parents, there are the kids, and these are the ages and everything else. And noted on the file is the fact that mum and dad would like to have the cabin to themselves and have the kids in the cabin next door. And so they make notes like that on there for you as well. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And then it's like turning around and saying, well, if you want travel insurance, there's travel insurance involved, maybe making some suggestions of some excursions they may like to do at different ports of call as well. But it's just taking care of the client and what it is that they need. Booking a cruise is not just saying to your travel professional, hey, I want to go on this cruise. Okay, that's fine. Excellent. Now, what type of cabin would you like? Where on the ship do you want to be? Do you want to be forward? Do you want to be aft? Or do you want to be aft, beam at the back of the ship? Or do you want to be midship? So there's asking these questions. Do you want a balcony? Do you not want a balcony? Do you just want to have an ocean view? And an ocean view is just a window that will not open. It is not below the water so you can watch the fish swimming around, as I have had some people talk about. Ocean view, all passengers on the ocean-going cruise lines have to be in cabins above the waterline. When you're traveling on river cruises in Europe, they're a little different on the rules because you at least have to have a window above the waterline. They do have some decks that are partially below the water, but you've got the upper window so you can actually see out and you can see above the water as well. Those were quite different rooms. I didn't stay in any of them, but I did get to 2 of them. Just like the cabins up top, but without the extended floor-to-ceiling windows. So those are just a couple of questions that are going through. Let's see what other questions are on here. Do I need a visa to travel to a destination? That depends on the country. If you go to travel.state.gov and look up the information for that country, they typically tell you there if you require a visa. If you're not sure, there is usually a link on there to go to the embassy or the travel information for that country. And from there, you can find out if you need if you need a visa, and how you apply for a visa and how long it takes to get a visa. And I will tell you this, your travel professional will inform you of the documentation that you need. It is up to you to make sure your passport has a minimum of 6 months on it when you travel. Some cruise lines will not allow you on board if there is less than 6 months of validation on your passport. If it's less than 6 months to expiration date. A lot of countries have to have that 6-month window. Some countries have 3 as theirs, but they're very rare. So as a general rule, if you have less than 6 months on your passport, renew it. And when you go to travel.state.gov and you look under the passport thing, it will tell you right there, this is how long it's going to take for your passport to be processed once we receive the application. It is not the fact that, oh, I went into the post office and I posted away my application for a visa. I only have to wait 8 to 11 weeks. No, 8 to 11 weeks from when they receive the package with your application in it, which is why it's good if you can go to a passport office and actually hand it to them. That's always a good thing as well. So yeah, for visas, some of them will take will take up to 3 months to get to you, to be approved and everything else. You have to send your passport and you have to send other document, and it tells you your passport and other documentation that you have to send in for them to put the visa into your passport and issue it and that sort of stuff. Some will do it online. Some still require the passports to be sent to the local embassy, and they give you all the instructions on how to apply for the passport. In some cases, they will tell you if you have any felony charges that include these, and they will have them listed out, you will be denied into the country. But if you have these ones over here, it'll be on a case-by-case basis. So be honest up front, because if they go researching and they find that you've got a conviction on there or something, denied. But yeah, for visas, it is up to you as the traveler to ensure that you have all the documentation. As a travel professional, it is our job to inform you of what documentation you need. We can provide you with links to take you to those sites so that you can follow the instructions that are on there. Based on what countries you're going to, we may know off the top of our head, but we will still provide you with the official links so that you can turn around and say, well, she told me, and on the website it said this, so I didn't know what to do. Yeah, go with whatever's on the website. That's all I can do, is go with whatever's on the website. So yes, that's the best. Go to travel.state.gov. It is a great source of information. They also have the STEP program on there, which is for when you're traveling international, you can go and register that you're going to be traveling to particular countries and how many are in your party, where you're going to be staying during that time. So if anything should happen in that country, whether it's a natural disaster, a military coup, a war breaks out, or whatever, they know who is in the country from America. They know who's in the country from the United States, and they know exactly where you're staying. They will do their best to get in contact with you to help get you out, or provide you with information that you need on how to get out of the country. And that's a great thing. And it also has contact information in there. So if anything happens to you while you're traveling in country, then they know who your emergency contacts are back home as well. So if anything happens to you, they know who to inform. So yeah, there's a lot of, the travel.state.gov has a ton of great information. So, and very few people actually utilize it. And the government is doing their best to, like, hey, this country's having this political crap going on right now, so they're closing down their borders to tourists coming in. Or you don't want to be going into these particular areas of this country. But if you go over here, you'll be, this one's under a warning, this one's under a watch. So take note of some of the stuff's on there, because there's a ton of really cool information, especially when it comes to doing cruises. If you are doing a cruise, what they call a loop cruise that goes in and out of the same American port. So if you have a cruise that goes in and out of LA, it might go down to Mexico, then comes back to LA again. If there is a cruise that starts in Fort Lauderdale, goes around the Eastern Caribbean and comes back to Fort Lauderdale, those closed loop cruises that go into the Caribbean, the Bahamas, Mexico, up to Canada. The only times I go to Canada is when they're doing the Alaska cruise. Not Hawaii, because you don't need a passport for Hawaii. Oh, and actually, no, and Hawaii as well, because the one that goes to Hawaii has to stop at an international port and usually goes to Ensenada in Mexico. So for any of those closed loop cruises that starts and ends in the same port within the United States and goes to the Caribbean, the Bahamas, Mexico, Hawaii, or Alaska, there's actually a place under the document on what documentation you can take for the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative. There's a whole paragraph there on what documentation you need. Now, preference would be take a passport. Don't even futz around with anything else. It also has, if you've got people that are under the age of 16, what documentation you have to have for them to travel as well, which is always a good one to know. With the closed loop cruises, according to the website, and I always tell people, go look at it for yourselves, and I give them the links and everything else. But you can travel without a passport on those closed loop cruises, provided that you have a government issued ID and a birth certificate. Or you can have a passport card. And it is a big but, or enhanced driver's license, and what was the other one? I can't remember what the other ones are, but you have to go to the website and look it up. And it is a big but, if anything should happen to you while you are on that closed loop cruise that started and ended in the United States at the same port, and you're in the Caribbean, you're on the Bahamas, you're in Canada, or you're in Mexico, and you have to be flown home, you can only fly home from those countries on a passport. And some of the countries may require you to show your passport in order to disembark. So I always tell people, if you can get the stuff done in time to go, then get it done ASAP. If not, then these are the stuff that you can do to get you, and just hope that you don't have to fly home. But if you have passports, use them. When I'm traveling, I have my passports with me. And yes, I did say plural. I have two, New Zealand and a US one. Some countries allow you to have dual citizenship, which is kind of nice when you fly home, and you can fly home on your New Zealand passport and then fly back to the US on your US passport. The two are linked in the system. They're all linked. But when I'm traveling, I always have them with me, because funnily enough, when you travel to some countries, it's easier to get in on one passport than it is on the other. Did you know that? Yeah. Some countries are, if you're coming in from one country, like the US, they may say, yeah, we're not particularly thrilled with Americans, so I pull out my New Zealand passport. And they go, oh, hello, welcome. And and there's vice versa as well. So yeah, but check on that, and travel.state.gov has a wealth of information there, where you can find documentation that you need, everything, registering for the STEP program, and you can even put the STEP program on your phone as well. They have what's it called? Just quickly looking to see what it's called. Smart Traveler. On your there's an app called Smart Traveler, and that's their let's see. So it's called Smart Traveler. It has the hang on, where are we going? That's this one, and I'm sorry about the reflection on the phone. It's this one here. You click on it, and it comes up with. You click on it. It comes up with a list of all the countries, and you can search by country or whatever. You want to go to Chile. So we press on that, and it says at level 2, exercise increased caution. You see the number 2 come up. And if you want to find out more about it, you just click on it, and it gives you a current summary of what's going on in the country at that time and why they've got that warning in there, and other resources to go see. But on here, it's got your embassy and consults, where they are, destination description, entry, exit, and visa requirements. Oh, what visa requirements do they need? Your passport must be in good condition and valid for the period of your stay. You do not need a visa for a tourist or business stay of 90 days or fewer if traveling on a tourist passport. Upon arrival, you will see a tourist card valid for up to 90 days, which you can extend for another 90-day period, paying $100 US at the Chilean immigration office. So they've got it all listed in there. And then they've got safety and security, things that you should be aware of, what's going on and how to stay safe and secure during that. Local laws and special circumstances, health, what to do if in the case of a medical emergency, and travel and transportation around. And notice down here, there's this little button. It's called STEP. If you click on STEP, this is the coolest thing, I tell you. It's a Smart Travel Enrollment Program. I love this thing when I'm traveling internationally. Sign in if you've got an existing account and all of that. But basically, under the About thing, it says that it's a free service for US citizens and nationals who are traveling or living abroad. STEP allows you to enter information about trips abroad so the Department of State, via our embassies and consulates, can better assist you in an emergency. You can also subscribe to receive email updates with travel advisories and other information for a particular country. So if you're planning to go to a particular country, go in here, register, and then click on the thing for the email so they can keep you up to date. But anyway, so that's the Smart Traveler app, which is a really good app to have. And then the other one that you should have as well, hang on, that one won't work. Let's try this one. It is called, where is it? Where to go? It's called Trip Whistle. And it's right here next to so here's my Smart Traveler one, right? Smart Traveler here. This one here is called Trip Whistle. And when you go, it gives you on here, as soon as you open the app, it will connect and it will tell you your exact coordinates of where you are right then in that particular space and time. It also has emergency service buttons across the bottom. You've got 911 for police, for ambulance, and for fire. And they've just got the symbols there, and if you need one of those, you just press it. You can also have a look at a map, and it will show you on a map exactly where you are. But yeah, so this one here, will I cover up my address? This is my work. You can see the 3 buttons across the bottom, and it even says across underneath those buttons, which you may not be able to see, it's got 911. So if you're in a particular country, and it automatically comes up exactly where you are with the address, with the coordinates, so that you can give those to the emergency services people for the assistance that you need. There's a map on here where you can see where you are on a map, and it basically says do not call the numbers in this system unless you are in need of emergency. So those are 2 very good apps for you to have. But anyway, hope those answered some questions for you. If you have any other travel questions, please put them in the comment below, because we love answering questions. Some of them we may not know the answers for, which means we get to learn. Yay! We get to learn new things. We like learning new things. So please put your travel questions in the comments below, and we may do another episode of Travel Questions Answered. So until tomorrow evening I'm going to be late tomorrow night. I'm going house hunting again. I have an appointment at 5. Yeah, I'm going to be late back tomorrow night. So I will not be back by 6 o'clock. Let's go for 7 o'clock, because I should be back by then. So 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, Pacific time. Until then, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. Hei konera.